Most people are living paycheck to paycheck, but the real problem isn't income. It's how far ahead they're thinking. Let me ask you something. Are you planning for next month or are you planning for next generation? Because wealthy families don't think paychecks, they think in decades. And the difference between staying broke and building wealth often comes down to one thing: thinking long range. Today, we're going to talk about why people who control the banking function in their life end up controlling their financial future. Welcome back, everybody. This is Nelson Pizarro with Banking for Legacy podcast, and my mission is very simple: to help families, individuals, and business owners take back control of their financial needs. We do that by teaching the concept made famous by Nelson Nash in his book, Becoming Your Own Banker. If you haven't read it yet, highly recommend it. Make sure to follow us on social media, share this podcast with someone who wants to build generational wealth, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now let's get back into the podcast. Most people are taught to think short term: pay bills, use credit cards, finance cars, take out mortgages. But nobody teaches them how money actually works. Think about this. You spent 20 years building a business, and one bad financial decision can wipe out everything. Why? Because nobody taught you how to think long range. Let me give you a couple more examples, and let's do one with the family. Imagine you had two parents. Parent number one says, "I'm just trying to get through the month." Parent number two says, "I'm building a financial system so my kids start life ahead." Those two are completely different mindsets. One is literally surviving, and one is building a legacy. Teaching your kids how money works, like how credit card works, how finances work, how interest works, that's what makes them think long range. Now for the business owners, imagine a business owner that makes around $500,000 a year. Sounds super successful, right? But every time they need money, they go straight to the bank. And they finance it through not their own bank, but somebody else's bank. For equipment, to expand, buying vehicles, maybe even pay taxes. They are literally making money, but the bank is controlling their finances. Now imagine another business owner. They built tier 1 capital inside whole life policies. Now when they need money, they just borrow from their own system. The bank becomes a tool, not the controller. Investors think long range and understand something super powerful. Liquidity and control equals opportunity. When markets crash, when real estate deals appear, when business needs capital, the people with liquid capital win. This is why starting a tier 1 capital like a properly structured whole life policy is so powerful. Because it gives you liquidity, control, predictable growth, tax advantages, and financial power. It's not about replacing investments. It's about creating the foundation first, just like banks do. Before I move on, if this is the first time you're hearing about this concept, I want you to do two things now. First, share this podcast with someone who needs to hear it. Second, visit my website, Banking for Legacy, and schedule a free consultation. We'll walk you through how families, individuals, and businesses are using the strategy to build long-range financial systems. Now let's get back into it. Let me give you real-life scenarios. A father starts a policy when his son is born. By the time the child is 18 years old, instead of student loans, now he has capital available. Instead of starting life in debt, he starts with financial leverage. Let's talk about a 35-year-old professional. Good income, but every purchase goes through financing, like cars, credit cards, and loans. Now imagine redirecting that same financing through your own banking system. Now, interest isn't leaving your system, it's recirculating. Let's talk about a construction company owner. He needs around $80,000 for some type of equipment. Instead of going to the bank, he uses his policy capital. The business still pays back the loan, but now the financing strengthens his own financial system. Banks become the most profitable institutions in the world for one reason. They understand the banking function. Once families understand that, everything is going to change. Thinking long range means asking different questions. Not, can I afford this today? But, how does this affect my financial system 20 years from now? I tell a lot of people the greatest gift you can give your children is not money, it's financial understanding. Teach them how money flows, how businesses work, how banking works. That's how legacies are built. If today's episode made you think differently about money, then we accomplished our goal. Because the moment you start thinking long range, your financial life changes forever. Again, this is Nelson Pizarro with Banking for Legacy podcast, and it's your money, your bank, and your legacy. We'll see you next time.